The antenna of AN-32 of the Sri Lanka Air Force, which departed from Katunayaka earlier this morning, crashed in the Horahena area in Hokandara at around 6:20 this morning while it was en route to Ratmalana. An antenna of AN-32 aircraft from the number 2 squadron of the Sri Lanka Air Force, which was en route to Ratmalana, departed from Katunayaka at approximately 6:09 this morning. When reaching its destination, captain of the aircraft, squadron leader JMWN Abewardana, had requested permission from the control tower in Ratmalana to descend for landing. The request had been made at 2,000 feet in the air, almost 15 miles away from the Ratmalana airport. The Sri Lanka Air Force said that the final stage of communication from the pilot to the tower was related to low visibility on the flight path. However, the pilot had informed that he could see the ground below and descended to 1,500 feet. This was the last communication between the tower and the pilot. The original flight path of the aircraft was from Katunayaka to Ratmalana and then on to Trincomalee with a group of passengers. While a court of inquiry has been appointed to investigate the crash, the Sri Lanka Air Force says that poor visibility could be attributed for the reason for the crash. A court of inquiry has been appointed under Air Commodore Ravi Jayasinghe. At that moment, the weather was not an issue, however, visibility was an issue. The tragedy took place when the flight was being positioned from the home base or the operating base, which is Katunayaka, to reach the destination, Ratmalana.
Today morning also there has been mist over Bandaranaike International Airport and Ratmalana Airport. So then we can, when it is raining in the evening, and then if the wind flow is very low, and that is we say that the calm windy conditions, the conditions are favorable for mist formation. So then in the morning we have to expect mist also.
Newsfirst was the first media outlet to arrive at the location and report the incident to you as and when it happened. Now, several witnesses shared their ordeal with us, commending the pilot of the aircraft, his valiant efforts to avoid all the houses in the area and keeping these people out of harm's way. Locals in the area managed to capture this footage moments after the crash. We heard a loud noise. Then we saw the flight making its way here in a ball of fire. We saw one body on the ground. Everyone brought water and assisted to rescue one serviceman. It ripped off the roof of the house. Then it exploded. We heard someone screaming for help. I have never heard such a loud noise. Then there was a ball of fire which rose over 30 feet into the air. The pilot had made a valiant effort not to crash into us. We would have been dead if he veered the plane another foot. 2 houses suffered heavy damages as a result of the crash. The Sri Lanka Air Force said that compensation will be provided according to assessments made to SLAF standards. According to the Sri Lanka Air Force, 5 airmen were on board the Antonov AN-32 at the time of its crash. However, only 1 survived. Captain of the aircraft, Squadron Leader JMWN Abe Wardana, had tied the knot less than a month ago. The 30-year-old squadron leader was a resident from Pahalawalpala, Ibbagamua. Co-pilot Flight Lieutenant Danuka Tharanga Amaratunga was also killed in the accident. He was a 29-year-old father of 1 from Horana. Flight Sergeant Lalit Priyantha was another casualty of the accident. He was a 39-year-old father of 2 hailing from Ambalangoda. 30-year-old Corporal Amilanuan Vijayaratna from Pothanegama, Anuradhapura also perished in the crash. He hails from a family of 5 siblings, 3 of whom are also serving in the armed forces. He was a father of 1. The lives of these 4 servicemen ended 10 minutes after departure from Katunayaka, bound to Ratmalana and later Trincomalee, highlighting the uncertainty of life. In the event of a plane crash, questions are bound to arise on the standards of the plane. Let's now take a look at some of the specs of the Antonov AN-32.
Thank you, Shahin. Now, this is an Antonov AN-32 aircraft, the specific aircraft that we're talking about. It's a twin propeller aircraft that is very commonly used by militaries in the region, in the Asian region, and in Russia. It's manufactured actually in Russia. Now, this Antonov AN-32 aircraft that we are talking about had been procured by the Sri Lanka Air Force from Russia in 1996. The aircraft had completed a total of 11,981 flight hours and 45 minutes and was actually overhauled in Russia just this year. Since the overhaul, it had flown another 298 hours and 50 minutes. The price of this aircraft is estimated at about 4.25 million US dollars. The aircraft was valued at about 4.25 million US dollars. Now, the last time that an Antonov AN-32 met with an accident was on the 10th of June 2009, when one belonging to the Indian Air Force crashed, killing all 13 crew and passengers on board. The pilot of the AN-32, which crashed today, was Squadron Leader JMWN Abe Wardana. This is he, a very experienced pilot, one of the most experienced pilots in the SLAF, with having clocked over 2,239 flight hours. The Sri Lanka Air Force believes that Squadron Leader Abe Wardana had steered the aircraft to the Rabe estate in a bid to save civilian lives and lessen the damage to civilian property. His valiant action had prevented a greater tragedy, and his action under pressure is to be commended and will not soon be forgotten. There was 1 survivor in the accident. Shahin Jarangpati has more.
Leading aircraftman GKN Chaturanga, the sole survivor of the crash, was hospitalized and continues to receive treatment at the Colombo National Hospital. Injured Air Force member, lead aircraftman GKN Chaturanga, was rushed to the National Hospital for treatment. Director of the National Hospital, Dr. Anil Jasinger, said that he was subject to a 3-hour-long surgery and continues to receive treatment at the ICU. While he may recover from his injuries, the trauma of being the sole survivor will possibly haunt him for the rest of his life.